Could the concept of death represent the passage from one dimension to another? The idea of death as a transition from one dimension to another is a concept that has intrigued philosophers, scientists, and spiritual thinkers for centuries. While empirical science cannot confirm this view, the idea has strong roots in spiritual traditions, metaphysical theories, and even some interpretations of physics. Conceptually, seeing death as a passage to another dimension offers a compelling perspective on what might happen after we leave our physical form and provides a way to reframe death as part of a larger continuum rather than a definitive end. 1. Spiritual and religious perspectives on death and other dimensions. In many spiritual and religious traditions, death is not the cessation of existence but a transition to another state of being, which could be interpreted as movement to a new dimension. Eastern philosophies and reincarnation. Hinduism, Buddhism, and other Eastern philosophies often view death as a step in the soul's journey. Rather than ending, consciousness moves to a new state, possibly reincarnating in another body, or, in more advanced stages, moving to higher spiritual realms. This journey suggests that the soul transitions to a different dimension or state of existence where past experiences are integrated with new ones, reflecting a continuity rather than an ending. Christianity, Islam, and heaven or hell. In Christianity, Islam, and similar faiths, death is also seen as a bridge to another realm, heaven, hell, or a transitional state like purgatory. These other worlds can be thought of as dimensions beyond the physical, accessible only after death. These religions often describe the soul as being transformed or purified through death, suggesting that the end of the physical body opens a door to a new form of existence with its own unique rules and experiences. The Tibetan Book of the Dead. The Tibetan Buddhist text, the Bardo Thodol, often called the Tibetan Book of the Dead, describes death as a passage through a series of bardas, or intermediate states, that guide the soul through different realms. These stages are akin to dimensions with distinct energies, visuals, and experiences. This perspective suggests that the soul passes through several realities before either being reborn or merging into a greater unity, providing a detailed map of the journey from one dimension to another. 2. Quantum theory and multiverse hypotheses. In physics, certain theories offer fascinating frameworks for imagining how death could represent a passage between dimensions, even if they are speculative. Quantum consciousness theory. Some quantum theorists propose that consciousness itself might operate on a quantum level, beyond the brain's physical structures. According to this view, death could mean that consciousness shifts from a biological state to a non-physical quantum state. In this transition, awareness might move into a new dimension or domain of reality that is part of a larger quantum system, retaining information and patterns beyond the physical world. Many worlds interpretation. In the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, every possible outcome of every event exists in a separate, branching universe. Death in one reality could, theoretically, signify a transition into another of these branching worlds. While this interpretation doesn't necessarily imply that you continue in another form after death, it does raise the question of whether consciousness might experience existence in one of these alternate dimensions, where different versions of reality unfold. The simulation hypothesis. Some theorists argue that our reality could be a highly advanced simulation. If this were true, then death might mean leaving this simulated dimension and entering a different layer of reality or simulation, a dimension where the rules and experiences are entirely different. In this view, death could be akin to a player logging out of a game or moving to a higher level of existence outside the current program. 3. Consciousness and the continuity of awareness. If consciousness is indeed independent of the physical body, then death might not be an end but a shift in the way awareness functions. Near-death experiences, NDEs. Many people who have undergone near-death experiences report entering a state that feels like a different dimension, one marked by bright lights, a sense of peace, encounters with deceased loved ones, or visions of another world. While NDEs are not definitive proof of life after death, they suggest that consciousness may persist beyond the physical form, possibly in a different realm or dimension that is usually hidden from us. Theories of non-local consciousness. The concept of non-local consciousness suggests that awareness is not confined to the brain or body and can exist independently of physical form. If consciousness is truly non-local, death could mean that awareness simply leaves its physical anchor and transitions to another state. This idea supports the notion of death as a passage into a different kind of space-time, where consciousness may continue to experience itself in a different dimensional context. 4. The concept of the soul and dimensional transference. Many traditions view the soul as an entity distinct from the physical body, capable of existing across various planes of reality. In this sense, death could be understood as a form of dimensional transference. Energy and transformation. Modern physics tells us that energy cannot be destroyed but only transformed. Some theorists extend this principle to the soul, suggesting that at death, the energy that comprises consciousness doesn't disappear but instead shifts into a new form or dimension. This view posits that death is not the end of existence but the transformation of consciousness into a different energy state that may resonate in a new dimension or plane of reality. Dimensional overlap. Certain spiritual philosophies propose that multiple dimensions coexist and occasionally overlap, allowing beings from one realm to enter another. In death, it is possible that consciousness peels away from the physical realm and enters one of these overlapping dimensions, where the nature of experience and perception is fundamentally different. This idea supports the view that death is a process of moving beyond the limits of physical reality into a broader, multidimensional existence. 5. Existential implications. Death as evolution of consciousness. Viewing death as a passage to another dimension also shifts our understanding of life itself, framing it as a temporary phase within a much larger journey of consciousness. Death as evolution. If death represents a transition to another dimension, it may imply that life is one stage in an evolving consciousness. Just as caterpillars metamorphose into butterflies, human consciousness might undergo a transformative process in death, entering a higher dimension or realm where it continues to learn and grow. Interconnectedness of all dimensions. This perspective suggests that all dimensions, our current physical world and whatever might come after death, are interconnected, forming a single, continuous reality. From this view, the afterlife is not a place but rather a state of being within a different dimension, accessible when the limitations of the physical body fall away. This idea resonates with the notion of unity, suggesting that death brings us closer to an experience of universal interconnectedness. Conclusion. Seeing death as a passage from one dimension to another provides a rich, multidimensional understanding of what it means to live and die. This perspective redefines death not as an end but as a transition, a shift in the level of experience and consciousness that allows us to move beyond the physical realm. Whether interpreted through spiritual beliefs, quantum theory, or metaphysical ideas, the concept of death as dimensional transference offers a hopeful vision, suggesting that life is a journey through layers of reality that extend far beyond our current understanding. In this light, death becomes less of an unknown abyss and more of a doorway, part of a larger cosmic journey through the dimensions of existence.